Not one, not two, but 3 HP retro PCs. Why? Mainly because I got them for free from Patrick, but now they are going to have a new life purpose. But in order to do so, I need to fix these up. They are DC7700s, with the top one being the small form factor variant. Now I've labeled these machines numerically and found the proper stuff for each machine from my storage, ranging from RAM, hard drives and a GPU. Let's begin with the coolest looking of the bunch, the small form factor one. As far as I know, this one only needs RAM added. On the back is just one screw to open the machine. With that compact sizing also comes nifty cramped up components. Everything in here is well crafted for such a tiny space. It's all placed in specific compartments and can be pulled out easily with these labeled green handles. The slim DVD drive is also missing, but that's not really something to worry about. There's a 3.5-inch hard drive in here. Biggest issue is that there's a lot of built up dust. This machine houses two 265 MB of RAM, which I am pulling out to replace for larger 1GB ones. I also bet that CPU needs new paste, so I removed the CPU cooler. It looks pretty dried up. And I also cleaned up the dust underneath. The fan is filled with dust, and wet wipes do the trick, again of removing that easily. Same goes for the front fan. And a plastic heat cap as well. Some new CPU paste after many years, and then place the cooler back into position. I need to clean this PSU. It's easy to slide out, and as you can see, the fan is super dirty. It's easily detachable with just 4 screws. And I removed some more dust, which was underneath the PSU. Okay, we're done with this one. Let's close it up, clean up the outside a bit and move on to the next one. We're moving on to the bigger variants now, almost the same specifications. This thing is double the size, but has more space for upgrades if needed. The annoying thing about this case are these side click buttons. If you don't click it in hard enough, this top case won't open. You need to hear a specific click for this. It's just as compact as the previous one, though a little more spacious. Look at that flying dust, holy crap, it's pretty much everywhere. I picked these 2x DDR2 1GB RAMs. They fit, but it's actually no guarantee they will work. Problem with these desktops is that they need specific types of RAM to work. Moving on to the CPU and removing the cooler. Some more dried up old paste. I use these special cleanup wipes for CPU. They remove the paste super fast. Time to clean up that fan. 4 screws again, but one screw is a bit hidden. You can see here how much dust those blades catch. Unbelievable. Clean up your fan blades regularly, people. Some new CPU paste for the second desktop. There's also this onboard GPU chip, which has a passive cooler on top. Clean this as well, put some new paste on this thing and place it back. This is a bit shabby. Now this low profile GPU fits, but there's no real use into fixing it down with a low profile bracket. The VGA input is on the outside of the board, and this GPU prefers HDMI and DVI in favor of VGA. I let it rest for the moment, and we'll see what's doable later on. This desktop had no hard drive, so I slide in a 3.5-inch one below the DVD drive and screw it down. I then connect it to the motherboard, and feed it power with a cable from the PSU, as well as connect the DVD drive. Then some light cable management, at least what's possible with these desktops. Another fan that needs to be cleaned. This one is placed inside the PSU, so I can't attach it. Luckily, it's easily cleaned from the outside. I also cleaned the plastic heat dispenser and place it back. Then it's just cleaning the outside and onto the last and third one. Now the last one is also the one with the most problems. It's the same unit as the second one, but lord, this one looks like it's been thrown out of a moving train and off a cliff it went. The passive cooler is on the loose. There's a chip card thrown in here and the dust, even worse than the previous one. Look at this. And there's much more. Now I'm not going to bore you with showing you exactly the same, except this. Damn son, look at that. I had to vacuum my house afterwards. Off with that CPU cooler. Clean it on both ends. Take off that fan again and then clean it. Same goes for that plastic heat outlet. Pop on that CPU paste and place back that CPU cooler. Again, this one had no RAM, so I placed in these DDR1 2x 1GB in here. No idea if these will work, as this one is also very specific. So the passive IGP cooler was dangling inside the case, because the U-clips that should be in the motherboard aren't there. They're broken off, and there's absolutely no way to clip back and attach that passive cooler as tight and sturdy. So I just put CPU paste on here. I place in a 3.5-inch drive, and then back the DVD drive on top. These fans, man, Christ. I clean this one, place it back, and put back the plastic cap. Then there's this thing. I gotta tell you, I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, but it was dangling inside the case. I cleaned it up, and then attached it back onto the housing with a screw. Reattach the DVD drive and hard drive with the appropriate cables. Cable management again. Disassembling these PSUs is almost impossible, so I clean it out by air blasting it. Another fan. By now, this was becoming a pretty standard procedure. Once that's done, I close it up and clean the exterior. Here we go, 3 desktops that should be in good working order. I stacked them with the idea of doing something like multiple software installs at once, but here we go. Yeah, I was actually expecting this. These are error bleeps because of RAM voltages. I started with the small form factor one. I removed one RAM, and then it booted through. It needed to verify the RAM, and I got the message that the clock battery was dead. Should have known that as well. I popped in a bootable operating system stick and set it to priority 1 in the BIOS, but it just would bring me this: Linux booting up from the present hard drive. Okay, let me first replace that RTC battery with a fresh one. The constant booting to Debian would go on and on and on, so I decided to first replace the hard drive with another hard drive I had laying around. I replaced the 80GB one with a 250GB one. This one is 2.5 inch, so I used a 3.5 inch bracket, which I attached the drive to. I placed everything back, but I found a solution to the problem. This thing says it could boot from a flash drive, but somehow it didn't. So I attached an external DVD drive with Windows XP on disk, and it booted through. So when that was going on, I went to the second desktop to check on that RAM. I removed one strip to see what it would do. So I went back and forth many times, placing a new RAM, swapping RAM, and eventually it booted up with the correct RAM. But now a new problem arose. It went into manufacturing diagnosis mode. I looked it up, and this is because the BIOS needs to be updated. But it can only be updated when Windows is installed. Yeah, great stuff. Let's get back to that first desktop. I fast forward the installation of Windows XP, and then went back to fix the third desktop. This third desktop wouldn't boot up, and that was just an easy fix. I forgot to reattach the power cable to the motherboard. I also preemptive replaced that RTC battery. Before I start up on the third desktop, I transferred all the needed files from a USB stick to the first desktop. I plugged in the third PC, and absolutely no luck with this one. I was trying every bit of RAM that I have for like a half an hour, but none would work. I even swapped out the RAM from the one below, which had a diagnostic error. Still no luck, even though they are the same desktops. Okay, never mind. I gave up on those two, and went straight back to the first one that worked. Time to install all the needed drivers for this machine. I'm going to speed this up, as it's not really exhilarating. These drivers can still be found on HP's site, but it all depends on what kind of configuration you actually have. Anyway, I spanked Service Pack 3 on here, as well as Microsoft Framework. I also installed games, and to be honest, I was pretty surprised about this desktop's 3D capabilities. Games like Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament run fantastic. Shogun runs fluent as well. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 does too. Games from up to the year 1999 and lower run perfect on this machine. Only one desktop out of 3 I could prep and save. At least one has been saved, and that's all I need for now. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, I would like to know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, and a subscribe is always appreciated. And I'll see you on the next video.